Prigozhin, the head of the infamous Wagner group, has just been double-crossed by Putin. Everything that was right side up is already upside down again, and oddly, it feels more on brand for Russia than what was happening over the last 3 days. So a lot has happened in the last 48 hours, starting on Friday when Prigozhin, the head of the infamous Wagner group, led a mercenary army on a road march to Moscow, claiming that he was going to directly combat his enemies and that there would be a new Russian president, a direct attack against Putin. And then on Saturday night, Prigozhin announced that he was withdrawing his troops from Russia and returning the Wagner men back to their base camps. Prigozhin had struck a deal with Putin to end his march to Moscow, and part of that deal was that he would have amnesty if he chose to reside in Belarus, essentially being kicked out of Russia forever. Prigozhin, a man who forged his notorious reputation by leading one of the world's most nefarious and bloodthirsty mercenary companies, laughably said that the reason he took the deal was to avoid Russian bloodshed after his men had already boasted shooting down several Russian helicopters. And several reports from Russian military bloggers account up to 39 Russian military members were killed by Wagner troops. Now, a lot of people notice that this is not the typical Putin way. I mean, if it was a Putin way, Prigozhin would be falling out of a window by accident right now.
Hey, did you see that?
And a lot of people also noted that this made Putin look weak. I mean, he's never made a deal or conceded with any traitor within his country, and if you go against him publicly, more often than not, you find yourself in jail or pushed out a window.
Another one.
So it was odd for him to give Prigozhin this amnesty after saying that it was a march of treason.
Защитим и наш народ, и нашу государственность от любых угроз, в том числе от внутреннего предательства.
So just as quickly as this coup began, it seemed to be over. A deal was struck with Prigozhin by way of the president of Belarus, who was speaking with Putin on the side, in which all the Wagner troops would disband and join the Russian military, and Prigozhin would move to Belarus to live out the rest of his life in peace and exile from Russia. But on Monday morning, Prigozhin released a statement by way of his press secretary saying that Lukashenko, the president of Belarus, had brokered a deal to keep the Wagner group in business, but that he had discovered that was a lie and that there was actually intent to disband the Wagner group by this Saturday. Essentially, Prigozhin's entire legacy wiped out. And just a few hours before this press release, the Kremlin had released reports starting to show that this amnesty deal was not made in good faith. The Russian state news agency RIA reported that the criminal case against Prigozhin had in fact not been dropped. Later, the official state news agency confirmed that the investigation into the mutiny that had humiliated President Putin was still ongoing. This was further confirmed by a prosecutor general's office who said the criminal case against Prigozhin did not stop, the investigation continues, and with all this, Prigozhin could be facing up to 20 years in prison or an accidental slip out of a window.
That was Wilkins.
Oh, yeah.
Currently, Prigozhin's location is completely unknown, and it's unknown what actions he may take in light of this recent news. But even though Prigozhin didn't take Moscow, there still has been an impact on Russia. Many loyal Kremlin propagandists are furious that Putin allowed this to go as far as it did and show to the world the chaos and weakness behind the current Russian military. And in addition to that, a lot of people found it odd that Putin chose the president of Belarus to act as his proxy while rumors were spreading that he was fleeing Moscow. And most likely he did get on a plane and went into the air and keeping his location unknown. If I were Putin, I also wouldn't want to meet with Prigozhin in person. The truth is, it's a lot easier to push people out of a 20-story window when they don't have 20,000 loyal fighters around them. Putin, at the end of the day, has never been a fighter. Even though we like to show him in all of his judo and taekwondo outfits, he was always a desk jockey. Putin was not a field operative. The final question here is, what is Prigozhin going to do next? Now knowing that his days are numbered and that his men are meant to be disbanded, is he going to try this again? Is he going to pull his most loyal men together and take on Moscow? Or is he just going to try to remain in hiding until he dies beautifully of old age? But let me know what you think in the comments about this. This is constantly developing and unfolding. So any information you do have, please drop it in the comment section. And I am more than happy to be told I'm wrong and an update needs to be made.